Hey Booktube, it has been a little while, 3 years exact, although saying that, these breaks from YouTube seem to be getting shorter, so that's a positive. I thought I would take the time today to reintroduce myself, see how you guys all are, and let you know what I've been up to in the last 3 years since I last made a video. So if we dive back in time to 2022, I was just about to be married. I did get married, that's not where this story is going, and I literally found out in the week of my wedding, 3 days beforehand, that I was pregnant. It was a planned pregnancy, we were trying to get pregnant, we just didn't expect to get pregnant so quickly. I then experienced about 2 years of very extreme anxiety around everything to do with being pregnant and all of that stuff. Any of you who've been in that situation will probably know how stressful that situation is. Upon birthing my child into the world, I then realised that I was not coping very well. I did get a lot of help, and then it turned out that I'm autistic and I have ADHD. So that explains a lot of my issues that I was having all throughout the pregnancy and then into the maternity leave as well. I was actually really looking forward to going back to work because I felt like it was going to bring me some normality again and that things would just go back to how they were, which I know how ludicrous that sounds. Anyone who's had a child will know that things never go back to normal. But in my head I was like, get back to work and everything will be good. Turns out getting back to work was also very stressful, especially when you've got a toddler at home. Trying to work full time and be mum and do all the other things that I wanted to do in life just became too much. And so fast forward to 2025, about 6 weeks ago, I approached my manager and said that I needed to, or I would like to, go on a sabbatical. And so I am now about 6 weeks into a 3-month-long sabbatical from my work, and I can extend it, there are options for what I can do with it. My goal is to reconnect with myself, work out what it is that I want to do with my life. Like, I feel like I'm having a bit of a midlife crisis. Can I have a midlife crisis at 32? I'm saying that I can. That maybe this will be my only midlife crisis. I want to regain my energy and enthusiasm for spending time with my family, but also doing things that I enjoy, because things like reading, crochet, all of my hobbies that I have loved over the years, when you become a parent, it's very difficult to try and fit that time in for yourself. And so this is what I'm spending my time doing with my 3 months off. I'm exploring my hobbies again. I am hopefully reconnecting with old friends that I made on Booktube and rebuilding this lovely community that I had here, but also I am trying to look into whether I can start some kind of small business or something that can bring me in some money, so that maybe returning to a full-time job won't have to be a requirement for me in order to live. Because I have quickly realised on being on the sabbatical that time alone for me is really important. I didn't quite realise how exhausted I was just from going into work every day and needing to be around people and speaking with people, managing people. That's my role. I'm a manager, so I see people and I'm constantly speaking to people all day. And obviously with being neurodivergent, that there's a whole host of it. I can make lots of videos talking about that if anyone is interested. But it basically drums down to, I am putting my job first in order to, do well at my work and not get fired. And then it means that I'm getting home of an evening and I am just absolutely exhausted. There is no energy left in me to speak to my family or engage with my son or play games or anything like that. All I want to do is go and hide in my bedroom and have nobody speak to me, no stimulation at all, because I get just so overwhelmed and overstimulated from being at work all day. And so being on sabbatical has been great so far. Obviously I'm spending most of my days at home by myself, doing the things that I want to do, being very much led by what I want to do and what I have energy to do, which has been fantastic. Obviously I realise that I'm very privileged to be in a position where I can be allowed to have a sabbatical from work. I know that's not something that everybody gets, but also that I am able to fund doing that. Thankfully my husband's very supportive. I also have a lot of savings, so I wanted to ensure that I could have enough to do that and know that we're going to be able to afford the next few months. Funnily, until a few months ago, it's not something I've ever considered or ever thought about. And in fact, at the time when I was speaking to my manager about how I was feeling, they suggested that I just go off sick, or that they said, you know, why don't you just do that? You know, at least you'll be paid. But in my mind, I didn't want to be thought of as being off sick, if that makes sense. I wanted to know that with the time that I was having, I could explore different things. And of course I could have been off sick and explored, you know, starting my own business or doing something for me or other roles. But for me, that morally wouldn't have felt very good to my workplace, who I've been with for over 10 years now, for me to be off sick, be paid by them, and then also looking and exploring other avenues elsewhere. Like, that didn't feel very genuine to me, so I decided to go with the sabbatical option. So far all is going well. I've actually opened 2 Etsy shops, which is really exciting. I am more than happy to share more information on that if anyone is interested in my kind of small business journey. And actually, to be honest, I think that's probably what I should clarify with this booktube channel. I obviously will be speaking about books. I still read, I love reading. I very much ended up going with audiobooks a lot. Being a parent, it's so much easier to be able to listen to things, especially when it comes to things like bedtime. Bedtime with my son can take a long time, and a lot of it is just me laying on his bed with him, waiting for him to fall asleep. He's not talking to me, he's just laying there waiting to go to sleep, but I can't leave the room. So I've just taken to putting one earbud in so that I can just listen to an audiobook whilst we do that, because sometimes it's up to 2 hours and that's a long time. So with the channel, I am excited to share the books that I've been reading, also my journey with exploring starting a business, and then also I would like to share some of my crafting stuff, because I've been crafting. In fact, at the moment I am in the process of making a blanket. I'm following along with a kind of crochet along. I'm quite enjoying that. I think essentially maybe this is going to become a bit of a cozy life channel, and so hopefully there's some of you out there still in the world that are interested and want to connect with me. I have various different places that I am now on the internet: TikTok, Instagram. I've actually opened a website as well where I have a blog and lots of things that I share on there. So if any of that sounds at all interesting to you, come and say hello, reintroduce yourself down in the comments, and I would love to reconnect with you. In my next video I'm going to share my favourite books from the last 3 years, and if they've managed to stick in my brain after 3 years, then we know it's a good book, because I feel like my brain has become a sieve since becoming a parent. So I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will catch up with you soon. Bye!